standard composition. Both of these teams have a very unique identity, and it's going to be really interesting to see, you know, when these two identities crash, who's going to come out on top. Are we going to see, you know, both of these teams just instantly locking in their rosters already? They're ready to go. But, you know, it is going to be interesting to see when it does come down to it. Will, you know, the Machamp and Assassin Dave on the Charizard, how will they match up against an unstoppable Greedent, Trevenant, and, you know, the damage output from a Decidueye who could possibly kite? So it's literally like two very different, distinguishable, like, ideas and thoughts. We'll see how they end up playing out against each other in this grand finals here.
And it should be noted, of course, SoSad Sam running with that A9, because earlier we were seeing Pikachu brought out by this player. We'll have to see how this, you know, all goes down. Of course, you know, I wouldn't count out either team, of course, for any of their decisions. You know, I think these are both teams that can make a lot of things work. But, ladies and gentlemen, let's see that hype in the chat. This is the grand finals for our first Pokemon Unite Blitz #1. I want to see that hype. So, we're here at that starting buzzer, 10 seconds since, and looks like what you would imagine, right? So we're going to see the Machop, we're going to see the Greedent, obviously, there's a Squavit. They're going to be there on that top path, and then you got your triples down here at the bottom for each team. So right now you're seeing Rex still running with that tree, Yeet Fan. Everything is just like we called it. It's just SoSad Sam, and they will actually bring off the early KO with it, and maybe largely with the help of SoSad Sam. You've got that slowing, and so you're going to bring down that Hoopa on Nemesis.
Yeah, and they are just looking to get Yeet Fan out of here as quickly as possible. If you happen to keep down Yeet Fan, it is going to hurt the way how Nemesis is going to be playing out this game for the rest of the game too, because you do need those levels in order to get those damage abilities going your way from both Spirit Shackle as well as just straight damage in general. So a lot to think about, and a lot to, you know, keep in mind moving forward.
And so we'll have to take note. We'll keep our eyes peeled, of course, on what happens ultimately with SoSad Sam, and was that the right pick of the Alolan Ninetales? It's just the one that has changed up, and that's why I'm kind of keeping a close eye on that. You saw the Combi and Vespiquen go down. That was the 850, but here we're going for that Mini Dread. That's this Audino that appears in the top center of the bottom path. And so they burst that down, of course, right after the Bees. This is a very even game when we're only within a 1-point striking distance. You know, it's super early in the match as well. So very even, very nice, ladies and gents.
Yeah, it's just overall just picking, prodding, making sure that you get your levels ready. As we, you know, have already taken the first set of Bees, it's just a matter of keeping up the damage, keeping up the pressure, and farming up however much you possibly can at the moment. So it's going to be interesting, especially moving. I feel like the first objectives until we get to that 7-minute mark, a lot of these teams are going to try to go for each other. You do see how quickly Flee is dropping here, as you know, trainer LGC is just continuing on with the damage. Can they get out? It's not going to happen. Assassin Dave going to be able to get that last hit in there, and Art Ryu just going to go ahead and score here. Just make sure that they can get whatever they can, take away a couple of the berries, and apply that pressure continuously. So it's going to be a lot of pressure coming out from both these teams, and, you know, slowly moving into that final, or into the first Dreadnought, is going to be really important here.
And so you're hoping, of course, you are a Dartrix right now as Yeet Fan, but you're hoping to get some of that experience with this next set of Combi and Vespiquen that'll be going down right now. Very much a slugfest here, close to the top path in that central area. Trainer LGC will come out on top as that deadly Greninja, and right now may be able to catch Assassin Dave's farm that he was hopefully, you know, trying to secure, but that will be the evolution of Charizard as they pull off that KO. And so this is all looking, you know, a bit dangerous for both teams, which we like to see. You know, everybody's pulling out all the stops. And so right now you have Decidueye on the field, and that is going to be left side team with the help of our Ryu right there to get that last hit on the Dreadnought. They will secure. Tree is going to go down, though, kind of pushing through a lot of that Horn Leech, you know, trying to extend maybe a little bit too far, though, and our Ryu running past this, the flames right now from Assassin Dave's Charizard.
Yeah, applying that pressure, trying to grab whatever they can. Trainer LGC this time coming through with that damage as well. Just telling Foreign Famous to not quite, you know, push forward, maybe just look somewhere else for now. But really just good pressure coming out from Art Ryu, you know, last second using Fluffy Tail and Belch in order to get the last hit on the Dreadnought and secure that for Nemesis. It was a really big play moving forward. So now Foreign Famous has got to figure out how they're going to go ahead and get their leveling moving forward.
Just wanted to make a production note while we're at this stage of the match, you know, because sometimes this happens. But please, if you're not an authorized user, don't re-upload this VOD, you know, on your channel or anything like that. Just for authorized users only. But here we go. You're going to see the berry belly flop right on top of that goal. So Archery, we're going to try to cause some panic and some havoc, which she will. I mean, look at this. These are the belches are going to be flying. That's bringing down everybody to such a low point, and Trainer LGC will be able to finish off that work on the A9. So Alolan Ninetales out of there means that we can just get a lot of these scores in, because Dave really couldn't kind of solo defend that. You're noticing Fui, though, hiding out in the tall grass. I don't think he's been detected quite yet.
Yeah, not
Obviously
quite.
now.
And they are going to be able to get that last hit onto the Decidueye, but not for free, at least. They're continuing on with that damage. Trainer LGC is going to bring down Fui, and we'll see how these teams are going to be scoring off against each other. They ended up trading out that front goal. As you see, the top one's already taken out as well for Nemesis. So Foreign Famous might be looking at this Rotom as well to just apply even more pressure. We'll see if Nemesis is going to respond to that.
As you see in the chat, of course, Arcway Gaming will be uploading the VODs of these to the YouTube channel, so make sure that you're subscribed over there just to catch any VODs that you might have missed as well from earlier before. But it looks like our trio going to go ahead and score in, and then just sneaky, right? You know, be that Greedent. It's the greedy Greedent. Get in some of those points, get in some of the berries, get past all of the defenses and stuff, and just walk away with like most of your health still intact. That's what Greedent's all about. We're seeing the rings unbound, though. The Hoopa's down here, both teams, and this is a team fight that's going to be quite deadly, a little bit bloody, and we're going to notice Slowbro will be taken out of there, which is key. Maybe also, yes, that will take down Fui. So good job to our trio, who will bring those down at the KO streak of 2 at that Dreadnought fight.
Yeah, the squirrel woke up and chose violence and Boba. Those are the two things that they were just constantly going out for. So Foreign Famous tried to secure ground for the Dreadnought, but Nemesis just coming in with the amount of damage and the amount of pressure, not just from Artryu, but also from, you know, just the rest of the team shuffling him around and not letting him gain the positioning that they want. It's just working out really well for Nemesis, and Foreign Famous has got to just figure out a way how they can keep that pressure going forward. And if Assassin Dave can even find a good enough pick for them to really open up the doors for them.
What you saw there on the top path, as of course Foreign Famous will now secure that Rotom. You did notice that Yeet fan, maybe if you saw it, pulled off the Spirit Shackle, shot it into the tall grass, because often someone is waiting out there around the Rotom, and so actually was able to detect Gloxic hanging out in there as that Hoopa for Foreign Famous. Now it looks like most of the movement coming down for the bottom path for Foreign Famous, it looks like at the moment. But, you know, you look at what's going on with the mini-map, as well as in front of us, this is just sort of divided all over the map, and look at Trainer LGC. If you can drop this in, that would have been a nice 50 right there, and then just being interrupted at the last second, gonna have to shadow sneak on out of here. That was just devastating to get stopped at that stage.
Yeah, Asnable slowly backing up and backing away, making sure that they can go home real quick and not losing out anybody, you know, as soon as possible. But we'll see if they're gonna hop to bottom lane or hop to mid. It looks like they are gonna hop to bottom, go ahead and protect out this front goal. And as you see, the score's still really close. You know, we are getting into final stretch territory pretty soon, so any picks could really benefit one side. It depends on who they could catch out.
Absolutely agreed. And when we're looking at a score of 199 to 127, I mean, we possibly could have another Dread, but you'd really have to be positioned right there with no contest to actually be able to bring it down in time, probably. So it may or may not happen. We're seeing Foreign Famous around there, but notice Trainer LGC going to go for round 2. Will dump it in this time. So sometimes you have to wait, though. It's like you have to decide, do we dump this in during the final stretch, or do we do it now? And it's the trade-off, of course. There are benefits and drawbacks to each. Foreign Famous will do, as I said, they're going to go ahead and burst down that Dreadnought. Because you had your whole team right here, all hands on deck, they were able to just take that down very quickly and have enough time to mobilize for the Zapdos fight. Kanashi, here it comes.
Yeah, now they are going to enter into the final stretch. We do see both teams trying to get positioning here, and we'll see if they can find certain picks. You just see them kind of gauging each other, trying to figure out if they want to engage quite yet and how much time they can burn. Right now, if the game ended right now, Nemesis would win, but they, you know, we don't know the exact score moving into this game. So it looked like Rex is actually going to TP back home, get that full HP, and go ahead and push forward. So we'll see what's happening. You see Foreign Famous already rotating 2 of them behind their front lines, trying to get some of that damage. Force Curse is going to be popping the back line, trying to survive a little bit this time. But here comes the Hoops Unbound from the Hoopa in order to just continue on with the pressure, bring in the rest of the team and try to figure out where they want to go. They are going to bring down 1. They're looking at Fui next. Can they go ahead and chase that down? Trainer LGC not gonna go for it. Instead, already looking at Zapdos and might prioritize taking it down the A9. They are gonna do that. So A9 gonna go down, already down and out. So now Nemesis having the lead is gonna start trying to dunk in these hundreds moving forward. And it looks like it is gonna be a surrender from Foreign Famous, understanding that they don't have the pressure in order to go ahead and get that going for them. But yeah, just a really interesting last fight. Nemesis was just able to secure that down and push forward and clean that up for themselves.
Foreign Famous has quite the zap game usually, ladies and gents, but this is going to be a 249 in Nemesis's favor as that game one victory here in the grand finals to 205 for Foreign Famous. The only thing is that, you know, while your zap game can be so strong, Foreign Famous has sometimes even shifted how the NA meta looks and stuff with their Zapdos fights, and especially when Hoopa was first introduced into the game, but it was Nemesis with these targeted attacks. They just had the right targets, picked them off, weren't thrown off by what Foreign Famous was doing around there. You know, they had some fancy footwork on both sides of the choke, but wow, Nemesis to be credited definitely for how they ended up with that. And so Kanashi, what do we see here on the screen with the data?
Yeah, you do see, you know, the Slowbro had a lot of recovery, which is pretty basic, but overall just a really like balanced effort by everybody. The thing that I wanted to point out specifically in this game is the way how Foreign Famous tries to, like, they try to get the snowball rolling, but if it doesn't start going, they kind of get stuck. And that is a thing that, you know, Nemesis does really well. When you do have players like, you know, Art Ryu and Rex who are super tanky and super tough to bring down, when you have somebody like Assassin Dave trying to go in, get level 9, get out, get ready to dunk on somebody, and then you have to deal with, you know, like a quick squirrel, or you have to deal with, you know, the tree that's there. That's a lot of HP that you cannot instantly burst down, and that is something that I feel like is an adjustment that Foreign Famous might want to consider. And Nemesis just understands that. They say, you know, we have enough damage and pressure to really secure this down, so there's no reason for us to push on forward. If we have the pressure, there's no way how Foreign Famous is going to be able to win in the late game. So they won the game early, made sure that they got the levels, they took away the dread, and then they also just later on down the line just had, you know, enough going for them that Foreign Famous doesn't have the damage nor the pick off potential that Nemesis does.
This is why you got to hand it to the man, you guys. Kanashi, he's always got these kind of analyses that I think other people won't see. And so that was one about Foreign Famous that while I've, of course, observed this team here and there, I think, you know, my experience with them is a little bit more limited compared to some other teams. And so on a personal level, that was a really neat observation about the snowball effect of Foreign Famous. They really do, you know, and so they really do feed off of that, I guess, momentum. I think that was the key word I was looking for in my head, is just that when that momentum starts rolling, if they get it, they're going to snowball. So you're right. So wonderful job, man. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't expect anything less, though, from Nemesis to bring out a game like we just saw. So they are looking solid, and this is why they're both in the grand finals right now. These are two very, very good teams. And to, of course, knock out the usual juggernauts of Game and Gladiators in this tourney, you know, you got to be pretty good. You got to be knowing what you're doing, of course. So Kanashi, you know, it's always at this stage that you and I figure out, what do you got to do differently here? I mean, that was a game that was played very, very close until that zap. You know, it was very much down to the wire.
Yeah, and I don't know if Foreign Famous changes anything in particular. I just feel like if Foreign Famous wanted to change anything, I would feel like they would want to pick up something to help like secure the early game. In a way, I don't know if it is going to change the way how they change their lineup, because, you know, a lot of teams just pick what works for them best and then they just roll with it. So in this case, it is utilizing the Charizard and utilizing the crowd control that Machamp gives you in order to really snowball and make that work. But if the snowball doesn't happen, what is your fallback? So I feel like that's what Foreign Famous now has to contemplate, especially when having to deal with this team that is tanky, that likes to steal farm, and doesn't make anything easy. So I don't know if they change up, you know, like one of their players, if like Assassin Dave happens to go for somebody who can scale a lot quicker, or if they keep the same game plan, just continue on with the damage and just try to win the game by making sure that Foreign Famous can't farm or take away as much as they did last game.
I think you may not see Assassin Dave be the one to switch either. We're just
Mhm.
so familiar seeing him with that Charizard. It's like if that is the right play, definitely good on Kanashi's analysis. It's just one of those deals where I know how much I think we all know probably how much Dave loves this Charizard and is one of the top Charizard players. And so it would be fascinating to see, of course, Dave switch that up, but it's just not one that I would personally count on. You never say never. So we're actually going to see what's going to happen here. Assassin Dave will have that green check mark over the Char. You're seeing green check marks all around except for Aznable, who most likely would not lock in that Hoopa. Been playing as that the whole tourney, so that's what we can probably expect.
Yeah, probably just going to be playing the same way. And I don't blame him. I do see the run it back, and I see this being the way how they want to do it. So Assassin Dave, definitely. I feel like this time, if you do see Assassin Dave, you might be a little bit more selective about when they use their ultimate. Might be trying to get Yeet Fan out of there as quickly as possible. And if you happen to take away that damage or Trainer LGC and just get the damage rolling for yourself, that might be the difference in between just having to fight, Trevenant, Greedent, and Hoopa versus having to deal with their team full strength. So the game plan is to let the A9 get as much damage as possible, get them rolling, and then utilize both Hoopa and Slowbro in order to get there, and then allow the Charizard to kind of get the levels that they need in order to win the match. So definitely a lot to be looking forward to, and a different change of mentality moving forward for Foreign Famous. But hopefully they can do it so that they can keep their dreams alive in this tournament.
Yeah, well, it's certainly a bit of a tall order. We've been talking about this team Nemesis like crazy, and so it's definitely easier said than done, right, to overcome this team. So what you're going to notice, of course, we're looking at kind of that 1-1-3. That's, when we have a North America tourney, that's mostly what you're going to see here. Keep your eyes, of course, on who plays what and who makes kind of the first move. Usually it's someone in that central area is going to be either rotating early on or taking advantage here. You're obviously going to see, of course, Assassin Dave there as that Charmander, going to be in the central area for Foreign Famous. And keep in mind, of course, these teams switch sides. So, we're looking at Foreign Famous on purple this time and Nemesis on orange. Seeing a lot of low HP here, Kanashi early on, but nobody quite out just yet.
Yeah, they're playing it quite safe. They're just saying, you know what, we want the damage through. We want to make sure that we get our levels and take away as much of the farm as possible. They are going to probably be playing off of what they can get out of this. And yeah, Yeet Fan kind of in danger too. So a lot of these teams are just going to be playing around the fact that they have citrus berries coming up pretty soon and what they can get out of it.
And that was a nice little poke from Yeet Fan. He saw that a lot of people were at these lower levels and stuff, and so he did try to throw out the leaves, and it just obviously it didn't stick to anybody, but definitely that warning shot that keeps people zoned off too. And so looking good right now early on from Nemesis, but Foreign Famous here at 16, keeping this even. Our trio, though, going to dump in another 5, so we're going to see that kind of back and forth here in this early game when we're not even 2 minutes in. It's all about those odd, right here on this bottom path. You want to secure these, and that's just huge. For instance, if you can get to Tree, if you can become Trevenant or maybe that Dartrix earlier than you expected, that would be great. Phil going to come in, though, with that devastating Surf to try to steal some of this in. Did he actually get the steal? It might have been.
Yeah, just making sure that their levels are going better than their opponents at the moment. Trainer LGC not letting Fui get this dunk for free, and you see the Covet just kind of going around stealing away as much as they can, and also using the Magician to go ahead and take a couple things as well, but not going to be for free. Art Ryu is going to be able to trade that out as well, and Art Ryu just might be able to get out of here. We'll see. Is going to try to dunk the 14, is going to be able to get that, and probably going to Covet out of there. Just try to survive and get ready for this next objective moving forward.
You notice how much she just didn't care, though. I mean, Assassin Dave was just pulling out all the stops, right? Trying to just send all the flames your way, Archeryu. She just didn't care. She just moves right through it, as a Greedent at that stage. And when you have 14, you can get that in with the score shield for Greedent. So it was well played, Archeryu doing what she does. And right here, just coming in like, what do you say, Kanashi? Isn't it the Tokyo Drifter? She was Tokyo drifting through, but just coming in a blaze of glory for sure.
Yeah, I wonder if they know how Nemesis does it, just by just drifting all the way around the corners, not allowing them to really get in position here. As you see the Belch coming through, Rex trying to push him back, but is going to drop down really low. The recovery coming out from them, trying to get the wood hammer, is going to be able to trade out one. Looking at Phil next, could they get that damage through? So Sad Sam going to drop that Aurora Veil, going to be able to deal a little bit more damage and chip away, but we'll see if that is going to be playing into the way how they're going to go ahead and take this Dreadnought. If they are, just kind of vying for position at the moment, just trying to figure out if they want to go ahead and take this out. Phil just chilling in the bush. Azabel just chilling as well. You do see Rex coming back full HP after getting dropped quite early, but both of these teams are just trying to fight for positioning right now. Rex still continuing to push on forward, is going to drop down, doesn't have that recovery passive up and running yet, so more damage coming through. Trainer LGC trying to get that damage through, but it looks like Foreign Famous is just collective together, just making sure that they can capitalize off not a lot of players getting dropped all at once. Art Ryu trying to get in there, might be looking at the Dreadnought right now, has a very little amount of HP, but Covet is online. Assassin Dave going for the assassination here to start on Rex, trying to bring down Asnable as they are getting really low here. Yeet Fan is going to try to steal it away, but it looks like Foreign Famous is going to be able to take that and burn a lot of time, rather, as well as burn through the rest of Nemesis at the moment. The Tokyo Drift coming through from RBU, just trying to deal some damage, maybe push a couple people off of the goal, and trying to play solo defender here. So Sad Sam looking at Yeet Fan, trying to break down the only form of attack that they have at the moment, and Yeet Fan's going to be able to turn it around. Now they're looking at Glocks. Are they going to be able to turn this around as well? We'll see, and they do. So no score going in for the fact of Foreign Famous. They are just going to let top goal go, but they aren't going to let anything happen here at the bottom.
And Nemesis is looking to cover that lost ground now to kind of trade off, because you saw Foreign Famous was trying to really assault that bottom pad goal, but then now it's on Nemesis. They're going to dump in a lot, and I mean 40, 26, like these are pretty good point values there to have in your pockets, and they obviously were able to pick up some of the AO synergy. Fui, though, sitting here also trying to gather up, and then let's go ahead, burst this in with that Rotom, because that's going to dunk in nice and quick. So this is looking good for both teams. Right now, Nemesis is ahead. You see, of course, the charge up of that Spirit Shackle. You're going to throw down the Shadow Sneak and then throw it out and try to Spirit Shackle, throw down that eject button too, right? You got to get out of this fight because that Machamp in your face is not good if you were a Decidueye. Wonderful job by Fui. Looks like Nemesis, though, Kanashi was trying to punish and they just were not able to. So Fui, very good at kind of slithering on in, get that hit, and then get on out.
Yeah, they just weren't there in time to rotate to go ahead and help Yeet Fan. As the ultimates are going to get pushed on through, we do see Assassin Dave already finding Yeet Fan, as well as the rest of the team already finding Rex. So that's going to be 2 down for the side of Nemesis. 3 down, they're actually going to find Art Ryu on the back end of that as well. So Nemesis trying to find some footing here, but Foreign Famous just making it really difficult. If you overextend, we're going to take your life instead.
So we're looking at, of course, on the mini-map, you can see just about 3 seconds until that Dreadnought comes into play right here. And you're noticing also maybe that Spirit Shackle. It's trying to come back up here, but everybody's a little bit too far away. Now we got those rings unbound, right? We're going to see, of course, the Cursed Forest. These Unite moves are flying, ladies and gentlemen, so this is where you like to see it. That Berry Belly Flop now from Greedon. And then, of course, Machamp's going to be diving on in here, securing that KO. So Fui, absolutely devastating and bloody. This is bloodshed, my friends. The team fight is nuts for both sides, because you're going to see people dropping and trading KOs each time. Trainer LGC now coming down pretty low, going to be met with the fists of Machamp, and meanwhile Dreadnought is like, what about me, guys?
Yeah, and they are just chilling here. They are going to turn it around onto the Slowbro, and now Nemesis looking at the Dreadnought, trying to get as much damage as possible, but they do know Foreign Famous is just kind of lurking around here. It is going to go towards the Nemesis. They are going to be able to get that HP going their way, and that experience going their way, as they are going to be rotating up to top lane, potentially looking at Rotom as well, and maybe taking that front goal. But it is still anyone's game. You see how close the score is at the moment. As we are moving into, close to the 2-minute mark here.
This is what we love to see. We want to see these teams be as even as possible. Notice Rex getting a little bit of that life back, and have that focus band activate and everything, trying to stay in it as that tree, and just will be brought down. The tree was solid, though. It was standing tall as long as it could. Foreign Famous now making that gap for the score a little bit wider, and also gonna go ahead and pocket a Rotom here. So that's very nice, especially if you only have just almost 10 seconds here till that Zapdos is going to be coming in. I was going to call it Drapdos because I was thinking of Dreadnought than Zapdos, so forgive me, ladies and gentlemen. But yes, Archeryu hiding out in the tall grass. It looks like we just need the rest of her team to sort of all get in place, right? So we're all thinking about the positioning here because this Zap is going to be very crucial.
Yeah, and Fui's going to already treat that like a mini Zap and get that dunk forward for Foreign Famous, so giving him that significant lead just by letting that go. So Assassin Dave definitely trying to push on forward. The Phantom Force going to be popped out here, going to be able to grab that one, already going the way. So now they have the numbers advantage. They are going to pop the Hoops Unbound to bring everybody in here. Zapdos already dropping down to a quarter. You do see the Fluffy Tail coming out from Archeryu on that as well. The rest of the team just trying to burst down each other right now, trying to figure out where it's going. Archeryu is going to be able to get that last hit, and now Nemesis is going to go ahead and push this forward as much as possible. Going to be able to get this, and with the secure, if this happens to go their way, it is going to be the end for them here, and they are just going to be able to get that last bit of scoring here. Nemesis already dunking that 300 over, and so now it's up to Foreign Famous in 1 minute to go ahead and try to figure out a way how to dunk 300 in. Rex gonna already back up, grab as much as possible, and Nemesis definitely applying the pressure, letting them take as much space as possible, not allowing them to really play the game that they wanted to. And Foreign Famous gonna have to figure out how they're gonna do this, or if they're just gonna play defense and accept fate right now.
If you were Nemesis, you wanted to see it go down this way, right? Because that Zapdos was critical, and they did secure it. So right now, Archeryu is the greedy Greedent, going to be going around trying to take the wild Pokemon, but hey, it was not even needed because they are going to raise the white flag, Kanashi. So we are going to see Nemesis right here with another victory at 655 for the score to 339 for Foreign Famous.
Yeah, really good play by Nemesis once again, like just applying a crazy amount of pressure, a lot of recovery, a lot of displacement coming out from both Archeryu and Rex in order to just allow Yeetfan to get the space that he needs, Trainer LGC as well, and Asnable just being able to bring everybody to the spot that they need to be, and providing a little bit of speed with that trick as well. Nothing to scoff at for Foreign Famous either. They did really well trying to deal some of that damage. You see how well these teams just chip away at each other during some of the fights, being able to fight and recover and come back. So Assassin Dave did have a lot more damage this time around, was able to use that Unite move to their fullest advantage and just keep it going. But I do feel like the early game was just in Foreign Famous's favor that entire time. They had that pressure and they were just able to get the scores and get the objectives that they wanted to a lot more efficiently than the way how Foreign Famous was just trying to combat that.